Hello, good morning.
Evening.
Good morning,
It's
good
not
morning.
evening, it's full on daytime. How you doing today?
I'm good.
Welcome to Saturday.
Yeah,
You made it.
it's here.
We made it. I'm here. My head's
Whew.
kind of chopped off. Boop. Maybe I was sitting up higher than I thought I was. Fix that. Oh, goodness gracious. Please don't judge me too much. Anyway. Or judge me a lot. I don't mind.
I don't know what is going on with you. Just calm down. Everything's fine.
There is so much controversy to be had, Danielle.
I know.
So much, and I'm excited about it. I'm looking forward to this. I hope you're ready for it.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. All right, let me get some things together here yet. Anyway, welcome back to Saturday morning. I am Jason.
And I'm Danielle.
Hi,
and we are
Danielle.
Warm N Cozy Quilting.
You are.
What's
and
up?
you are. What
Hey,
are you?
Heart?
Doing the Disney Channel.
Uh-huh.
You're watching anyway.
And you're watching Quilting Fabric TV.
Oh,
We haven't done that one in a while. We haven't done Fabric TV in a
Right.
minute. Anyway. So we had some storms roll through again last night. We had some power outages in Columbia. I think most people are back together. If you're not, hope you get better soon.
yeah. At least our internet seems okay. I'm not going to say that out loud.
Right, please don't. I ran some
Heck.
tests. It all seemed to be doing quite all right. So I
Okay.
think we'll be all just
All right.
fine. So
All right. I don't believe it.
I don't
So,
either. I don't either.
There's that.
It happens.
All right.
Anyway,
So we have some people on.
we do.
And
We do.
we have some people loving the quilts behind us.
Yes.
So I'm going to talk about them real quick.
Go ahead, do it.
So some of our fabric companies do a really good job of doing some fun things that help the little shops out. We get a sorry, I was distracted by I'm working on IMQ. And anyway,
We'll get to that.
so if we order the entire line of a collection, they'll send us a cheater. So it's a digitally printed quilt top that then we can just quilt up and hang up, right?
So you're telling them that these are not what I pieced together?
Right. Jason did not piece these.
Maybe I did. Didn't.
So they are easily so we cannot buy them and sell them in this manner.
No.
This is just for the shops to get, so that we can sell the fabric faster,
Absolutely.
right? So we have the fabric in, we have the patterns to make these. All that is happening. And so this morning I said, let's hang these up. And he's like, they're all going to want to buy that fabric, and it's not in the computer yet.
It's not in there yet. It's brand new Northcott. It's gorgeous.
So
There's
apologize.
bears. There's
But
bears.
If you want a kit of either one of these, or you want more information, like how much is this bear kit going to cost? How much is it? You can send us a message on our Facebook Messenger.
You could. Absolutely
And
do it that way.
we'll get the information to you. So if you're just like, I really love that background fabric and I'm going to need 5 yards of it, you can message me that. So.
Magical, just like that. Welcome to technology. That's what we do around here. Oh, goodness. All right. So don't forget to say hi while you're out there. We like to know who's all watching with us. We will say hi to you all because it's Saturday morning, and that's what we do. We say hi to people.
Yes.
So
good morning, Christy.
Hello, Christy.
And hi, Deborah.
Hello.
And what did you do there?
I
Okay.
didn't.
Good morning, Pam.
Hello.
Good
Working
luck
on IMQ. So let's talk about IMQ real quick. Just kind of sidebar into that one.
Mhm.
So IMQ, we are doing. Hello. He's throwing stuff at me. Just as a reminder, International Mystery Quilt, July show and tell will be the last Saturday of the month, which is going to be the 29th.
Mm-hmm.
When you come in, bring your July one and your June one. So we're going to do a twofer if you got both. Now somebody was in here yesterday and they were saying, I already gifted my June quilt.
Oh, sure.
That's
yeah.
okay.
That happens.
It's fine.
No
We
big
still,
deal.
we're past that whole thing. I'm sorry about that. But
Mhm.
anyway, it's going to be a good time because it is also a fifth Saturday.
Right.
Yes,
So you're going to want to come for that.
absolutely.
The really, really fun thing is that somehow Jason and I will be running a booth at the county fair at the same time.
No, we won't. We'll be
That
here.
we're going to be doing all these other things.
We're going to come here for the show, and then we're going to go there for the event, and it'll be just fine.
Yeah, that's what he keeps telling me.
Yeah.
I believe him.
You should believe me. I've got answers. You got problems.
Okay, there's more people jumping
Oh, let's
on.
jump on. Say hello, hi. Okay. Good morning, Alvina. Good morning, Patty. Are you going to feed from over there? I don't know what's happening. I'm sorry. You
No.
were saying hi. I didn't want to take over your job.
No, that's okay. Hi, Kathy, and good morning, Claudia. Hi, Beth. Have you gotten to iron? Have you been
she
pressing
loves
things?
it, so you know she's probably not slept at all last night.
Right. I mean, how exciting it is to iron.
Yeah. She's got it in the house, ironing everything.
Right.
Bob's walking in going, what just happened? Everything is crisp. Things are pleated perfectly.
Right.
I don't even know anymore.
Right. And
but it's portable, so it's easy enough to do.
Exactly.
Curtains are just perfect.
If you want to love your iron just as much as Beth, come in today, come see me, I'll show it off to you.
Yeah. You need a Laura Star iron in your life. You don't know what Laura Star is. Yeah, you need to come find out. You need to come see it. We will show you. We will inform
and Victoria's here today, so it's a good time because she loves to show off this iron and she's really good.
It is
actually
game-changing.
Yeah. I have to tell you. Oh, maybe she told you.
Who?
Beth was here.
Yeah.
And Beth had seen Emily, the Laura Star rep, in Kansas City, and almost bought an iron, but then thought, wait and see. Then saw Victoria at the quilt show and went, oh yeah, I'm buying one from them. So now Beth has her iron. Yesterday she comes in to pick it up and she's got her friend with her. And so Victoria gives the demo and she's like, just so you know, you do just as good of a job as that girl did in Kansas City. And we're like, wait, who was it? Oh, and she described her and we're like, oh my gosh, that was Emily. So anyway, Victoria can do an awesome job at showing off the iron. That's
just in case Emily's watching, she's coming for your job. Sorry, I'm sorry.
Also, I'm a proud mom.
We can talk.
Yeah.
We can negotiate a contract.
Actually, funny enough, I was talking with another dealer up in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And they're getting the Laura Star dealership up for there as well. And he's like, so maybe we could work out, terms or something and have your daughter come work at this show up here in September. I said, yeah, if that wasn't band season. Sorry about your luck.
Right.
So
tell Smith I'll be out of town.
Yeah.
Right.
Band
Probably
season
not.
and she's the drum major. I think that she kind of has to be there. Anyway, back to what we're talking about today.
Meanwhile,
which is,
back at this ranch, you got people saying hello to Jean.
Good morning, Jean. And hi, Mary.
Hello.
Good morning, Wendy.
Hello.
And thanks for keeping my child safe for 9 days. Okay.
Yes.
Good morning, Nicole. And hello, Vicky.
Oh, she loves my
thank you.
top. Oh, she said Danielle.
Yeah, me.
Yeah, it's nicer than mine. I just went with the standard black today.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll branch out someday.
He is wearing like khaki colored pants.
They tan. You want to see them? No.
Tan pants.
Sorry. Gotta come in and see him.
Gotta see his tan pants. Oh, and I have yellow pants. I'm like, we
almost match again.
Yeah, okay, anyway.
Normally we match shirts. Today we went match pants.
Yeah.
Except not really.
Not really.
They're not at all the same.
Normally our black shirts aren't the same either. Usually very different.
Yeah.
Anyway, over on the YouTube side, we got Sandy watching over there. Hello, Sandy.
Morning,
and Wendy
Sandy.
watching there also.
Good morning,
Wendy's in
Wendy.
2 places. Or Wendy's been hacked and her alternate has been watching on the other channel.
I don't think so. I
Maybe.
think that it's just
Could be. Controversy.
Don't
so
start
much
nonsense.
controversy.
Right. This is his whole plan today, is to see how many times I can holler at him.
So it's going to happen regularly. I want you to all know this is not necessarily staged, but it is just regular par for the course. It's okay.
Partake?
You're welcome to participate.
Yes.
So,
Can
absolutely.
you take your chair down just a notch?
Is my oop. Let's go there.
No, it's perfect. Yeah, right?
Anyway, hello Jennifer. Glad to see you.
Morning.
Quilting Sat. Are you quilting, Jennifer? I hope so. You better be. If not, why not? Anyway, I'm kidding. I know that was very intense. I'm so sorry. I had way too much coffee this morning. Also, I'm excited about controversy. Have fun. It's fun. It's awesome. It's because these things have never gone away.
It's because you love to argue.
I love to argue.
Okay.
I'm great at it. I should have been a lawyer. Until I
I'm
started
really
watching
surprised.
Suits, and I'm not.
I'm really surprised that you didn't argue with me that you love to argue. So there's that.
But I do love to argue.
Right.
It's fun.
Usually
Right.
we still argue even when we agree. So
We do argue when we agree, which is really just weird, but it happens. It's just
Okay.
a process.
So yeah, so go ahead, tell them what it's all about today.
So we just did controversy. What you believe, what I believe, and what I think with the quilting world. Who's right? Who's wrong?
Right.
I don't know. We're gonna find out.
I
maybe.
wonder if other hobbies have the same kind of thing.
That's a good question. I didn't go into other
Let's say,
hobbies,
like, fishing.
controversies, but There
If
is
you-
no rule in fishing.
Right. So if you're a
That's
fisherman,
not true.
I can use dynamite if I want to, and you can't stop me.
I do believe that
The
it's
state of
against
Illinois
the
probably
law.
could, but that's besides the point.
Well, in the state of Illinois, you can't do nothing cool. By the way.
is that right?
Yeah.
Anyway, Harvest says other hobbies do have their controversies as well, which
okay.
is awesome, so I don't feel as bad.
Okay. Good morning,
But-
Chris.
I would imagine in the fishing world, if you buy the wrong fishing rod, you're probably looked down upon.
Right.
So if you're judging my Zebco, get over yourself. I like cheap sometimes. I like to fight with a fishing rod because
I don't
It
care about
adds to the
fishing
fun.
anymore.
we've moved
part
past
of the
fishing.
Experience.
Right.
Fighting with the fishing.
If you don't struggle
Right.
with it, is it fun?
right.
What? Doesn't make any sense. Anyway, beyond that, so we talked about the fair. We talked about
Did we talk about the fair? Really?
we are going to be in the Monroe County Fair, which starts July 23rd, runs till July 30th. So that's next Sunday through the Sunday after.
Right.
So that'll
I
be
just
a
know
good
that
time.
it's a long time that I have to be
Outside.
outside-ish. I mean,
I'm hoping that it stays
shed is
cool.
outside.
If it's
I don't
awful,
know.
I'm going to send her back to the shop.
he
It'll
will
be
because
fine.
I do not.
I'm not going to deal with that all day.
I will be hot, and that is not good for anyone.
Because she'll be miserable and I'll be miserable, and the two
And
miserables
then
together are not.
I'm going to be showing things, and I'm going to be like, "Yeah, do you want this or not? Come on now."
Did you pay for parking?
I don't. We should have a vendor pass.
There's
I guess.
going to be all
I
that
don't know.
stuff. This is not important to the customers. They don't care. They just know that we're going to be there. And they're going to come down for Demo Derby Friday night and come say hi to us. Because you know you'll be
Demo
there.
Derby actually means you're going to come watch me demo.
You know what I
your
found out
stuff.
yesterday?
She won't be there for Demo Derby night.
Our friend Beth, who has just recently purchased an iron,
Mhm.
has a trophy
A
from
trophy.
winning a Demo Derby. She got first place in a Demo Derby. She's a bad mamma jamma.
Oh my gosh,
I would have never have ever thought that was even possible.
that's so cool.
I do not have any trophies from any Demo Derbies because I have never been in one. I have driven into
You
somebody,
have-
but
You would have had some cars
was
that
not
could have gone into
sanctioned.
Demo Derbies.
I've had some cars that could have. It
We
was-
probably still have one in the garage that if it ran,
that one probably could go
it
in
could
there.
go in.
It does sort of run-ish. It's ideal for a Demo Derby.
Yeah.
And it's a Saturn, so it's plastic, so it'll just pop back out.
How's my hair? Is my hair
Your
okay?
hair is
Glorious.
great.
Stop it.
Stop messing with it.
Leave it alone. It's fine. Jennifer has other hobbies collecting baseball cards, and currently they have discussions and arguments over collecting and grading of cards. Oh, could you
Oh,
imagine an argument on grading a card?
Yeah, we watched
Holy
a
cow.
collecting show where
Yeah.
people were selling off their stuff and auctioning things, and yeah,
When you get to a microscopic level to grade quality of a
right,
card,
right.
I'm out.
So
I'm
crazy to me.
I mean, the fact that I probably used my cards as like a throwing device.
yeah, to see if
I'm
we
out.
can get your brother in the eye.
Right.
You know, like anyway. Okay.
Anyway, moving on. So,
So
County Fair, be there,
County
come
Fair.
visit us.
yes,
We're having machines
be
there,
in the
demoing
building.
stuff,
We'll
super
be
special
demoing.
pricing. It'd be great.
awesomeness. Yeah, great
Um,
prices on irons.
Fifth Saturday, we
Fifth
talked about
Saturday.
that. IMQ,
Mhm.
and then last but not least, I think that's it.
Yeah.
Oh, All Illinois Shop Hop.
Oh,
By the
there's
way, that's coming August through September. If you don't have your magazine with your passport yet, we have them.
Mhm.
If you don't have your T-shirt yet to commemorate the event,
we got
have 'em.
those.
But we actually are out of smalls. They're going out the door. Like people are buying them, and once they're gone, I will have no more.
Right.
So if you don't have one,
Last year we really tried to, let's get some more, and then
Mhm.
they would be out of things. And so this year we're like, let's bulk up in the beginning, and that's what we're carrying. That's
Right.
it. So we're not
and
gonna
I
try
think
to chase.
3Xs are also like very low right now. I think we're down to like
Really?
the last one or two.
Oh my gosh,
3Xs.
we went heavy
on
on
that
the-
big size, yeah.
on the XL2 and 3.
As
'cause-
previously mentioned here for the fluffy folk.
Exactly.
Believe me, I get it.
We went heavy on the XL2 and 3. And wow, I'm surprised that we're already
Yeah,
low on those.
we're
So
getting low on the 3 already. So yeah, if you don't
Um,
have one, get it. Yes.
and we do have the fabric out on the sales floor.
We have a quilt.
You
finished.
absolutely cannot purchase it yet. But if you wanted to see it in person, we have a quilt hanging,
Yep.
we have a pillow, we've got lots of cool stuff to look at for getting ideas for what you can use that shop hop fabric for.
Also know
So-
that once that shop hop fabric is gone, that is it.
That's it.
There will be no more. So, yes, all the things. Any other questions or anything you want to add to that one?
No.
No? Perfect. All right. So, controversy. I love controversy. I do. I love it so much.
He loves it so much. We're still talking about it.
No, we're going to start talking about it now. Controversial. Why he wants to start an argument with me, I don't know. Anyway, so we've talked before. We did the quilt police conversation. We all learned about Shauna Decky. If you didn't catch that one, that was back in January. You should go back and watch that video. Long and short of that story was there is no tactical SWAT team outside your house waiting to come in and stop you from doing something quilting related.
Right.
If they're out there, you've done something really wrong and you probably should start running now.
Right.
Go. Take the phone with you and run and keep listening because this is an important conversation.
Maybe we shouldn't encourage people to run away from the SWAT team. I hear they're
They're fast.
pretty fast.
They got guns. You're not fast enough. But you could be dodgy enough. I don't know. I don't judge people on your dodginess. Good luck. So anyway, so
I really don't know that we will make it through this day. But
I have a list of things. And so when I was searching for information, I came across this forum from 2011 because the internet. Look, I love the internet. You can find some wonderful things and some absolutely horrific things. This one in particular was great because it's like a little time capsule because you get everybody's information from 2011. This is 12 years ago.
Right.
We are 12 years past this conversation.
And yet it's still all.
My thought was, let's see if they're still the same conversations we're having now.
Right. So are you guys ready to type? Because we would love to know what you think on these topics.
I would love to know your stance and your opinion. I know we've talked about these a few times, and if you've ever watched us and we've had these conversations, you know our opinions sort of mostly. But let's see if we've gotten any better. Are you ready?
Yes.
Ready. First one, biggest one that most people will talk about, to wash or to not wash. So pre-washing.
Pre-washing your fabric.
This has always been a conversation, it appears. I even asked your mother, who's been doing this for decades at this point. First one she said, pre-wash or not.
Right.
So this is still a big conversation.
Absolutely.
Where's your stance on this one?
Well, everybody knows my stance.
What's that?
Don't wash it.
Don't wash it. Okay.
Because now companies put a lot of things in their finishing that makes those colors color fast so they don't bleed. That they have a stiffening so that it's a mild starch so that when you cut it, it's not going to have all that shifting on you. So also, if you pre-wash, then you're going to have to starch to add those things back in.
Okay.
So this is my opinion.
Okay.
I'm not going to pre-wash anything.
That's fine.
Ever.
I just want to also back up just a second and preface all this with that whatever we talk about is not set in stone because, as we've all learned, there are no rules in quilting.
So yesterday I
By the
had
way.
some ladies who were like asking me one of these topics.
Yeah.
And I was giving my opinion. And then I was like, and then they're going, okay, see? And they were taking my advice or my opinion and they were running with it. And I was like, oh no.
You just started a whole riot.
Now they're going to be telling everyone that Danielle said. And I am concerned that maybe I don't know. What if I'm wrong?
Right.
What if I'm wrong?
What if you're wrong?
Well, I just got a whole team of them following me now.
That's fun. That's awesome.
Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, fabric has changed. Yes, Patty. Over the course of history, it has changed.
Yeah.
It has, I would like to say, gotten better. And that's what you said.
Right.
They finish stuff differently. They prepare it differently. There's some principles that are still the same, but the way they treat it is far different. And the quality is far different from what it was many years ago. Does that mean you shouldn't pre-wash ever? I'm going to go with the opinion that there are going to be instances where it's probably not a bad idea. Also, number one, if you got fabric that you don't know where it came from,
right?
Like say you went to an estate sale and it was sitting there, you don't know how many cats was hanging out in that house. Like,
also, that Jason can't be near it if there's cats involved. But yeah, so. Also, you don't know the age of the fabric. You don't know what brand of it. You don't know much about it. And even if it is, let's say, for instance, it's old, insert brand name here that you know, okay?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, it's from so-and-so. It's got to be just fine. If it is 20 years old so-and-so, maybe they didn't do what they do now. Also, I mean, it's just yeah, probably in that case. I don't know. I don't buy things that way.
I know I have a hard time with this conversation because I really can see both sides of the conversation. I'm not hard, fast set on one conversation or the other. I think checking for color fastness is a really good option.
There's ways to do that. You can clip off a little piece, put it in a bowl of water, put that bowl in the microwave so that it gets real good and hot. If the water is now a different color,
Probably need to wash that.
Probably. I mean, now, first of all, is anybody going to wash that quilt on microwave?
Hot? Can you wash a quilt in the microwave?
I don't think
we could totally start a whole new thing. Microwave your quilts.
No, we cannot.
I'm kidding. Don't. Please don't do this. This is a terrible idea.
Don't microwave your quilt. But that's going to give you a good indication. If you microwave it for, 2 minutes and there's a slight hue, this is not going to concern me as much.
Right.
So
use color catchers, things of the sort. They're going to be super helpful.
We do lots of Quilts of Valor, right?
Yeah.
That we used to. Anyway, Quilts of Valor are red, white, and blue, right?
Okay.
So reds tend to be culprits of bleeding.
Reds love to bleed.
Blue, very dark blue, navy blues have a tendency to bleed sometimes, and you have white.
Yes.
So all Quilts of Valor have to be laundered before they can be gifted. So they get laundered, and then great, now I've got red and blue on this here. I've got purple. Yeah, I've got purple on this white. So we would just throw in color catchers, wash them. Color catchers are a different color. Who cares? It's not on the white. I'm happy.
What they're there for. Okay. Good enough. I like that conversation. I don't know where else to go with it. You do what makes you happy, but whatever you do, be consistent. If you pre-wash some of it, make sure you pre-wash all of it, because you don't want this pre-washed and this not pre-washed, because there's also that shrinkage thing that happens. If you don't pre-wash, it'll all shrink at the same rate-ish. If you pre-wash this and you don't this and you put it in the same quilt, this isn't going to shrink. This is going to shrink. Weird things.
My mom even said this morning, some people will pre-wash their batting.
There is, again, there were some really interesting things in this forum that I was in that thread that I was reading, like a lot of that, like washable thing. So all of it is just a whole, whatever you do, go with it.
So that makes sense. So Vicky washes and dries fabric that she's going to make into wearable. So if you're going to, thank you for saying that, because I've been wanting to do a coat, man, if I got all that together and then it shrunk on me.
Yeah. Now, and I'm actually going to mention that because there was a person that commented in that thread that had stated that they worked in textiles and went to an education and all this stuff. And she mentioned that really, if you're going to make clothing with this stuff, preparing it by pre-washing it is really a smart thing, because you don't want to get done and have it sizes too small. I would almost want to wash it, do the pre-wash in warm, to get it to actually shrink. Yeah. Well, she said she recommended with whatever method it's going to be washed in.
Yeah.
So if it's going to be a dry clean only thing, maybe you have the fabric dry clean, or take it, whatever you're going to treat it as, that's how you should do it ahead of time as yardage. That's your best bet. So. Okay. So that was a fun one. Nicole loves color catchers. And Harvest, she goes straight from here to her craft room. There's no time for washing.
No.
I understand this. This is real. Sometimes I don't get out of the store. I just start chopping stuff up here and using the machine anyway. All right. This one is one we haven't really talked about. This is going to be an interesting. I like to see your opinions on this one. You've sewn it together. You've got your piece together. You now have a seam. You press your seams open or to the side.
I have an opinion.
This was a conversation in 2011, and it is still a conversation today. And this one can be a controversial one.
Oh, man.
Does that mean you're wrong?
So
I don't know. Maybe.
So I did have somebody who said, my long armor really wants me to open all of my seams.
Okay.
And so my opinion is I'm going to press them to one side.
Yeah.
I want things to nest. So I usually am making sure that I'm going this way and then this way, and then that works together. And then, just like what Chris said, It does depend.
It
So
does.
all of those seams here on a pinwheel, I'm going to spin the seam so I'm going to open that and it's going to lay flat. And the only weak point, if you will, because here's what I feel when you're opening seams, the only thing that's now holding all of this together is this thread.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
Because I'm going to quilt that together. So bulk situation.
Yes, Victoria.
I have opinions from personal experience. I'll let you finish, but then I want to tell my personal story.
Okay, goodness.
There's some aggression coming from that corner. I'm afraid to hear this one.
I hope they can hear.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm loud enough.
So, you know, you've got strain. People are talking about, oh, you got strain on that thread. I don't know that there's really a lot of strain on that thread. But you could also have batting come through right there because you know, that's all that's holding it together. Like, there's nothing else covering up that hole. I mean, there is essentially, you've created, here's 2 pieces of fabric. There's a hole in between other than this rope I got holding it together.
Yeah.
You know, if we did it on large scale, let's talk about that, right? Like that's all that's there that's holding that together. So batting could come
zoom in on there. It's not impossible. You're right.
Right. So you are creating a weak spot, and if you're creating that weak spot in the entire quilt, I'm concerned about that.
Okay.
But I have friends who have opened their seams for years.
Yes.
This is how they've done it forever and ever. They have gifted lots of quilts. They're not getting quilts back going, oh my gosh, this is falling apart because you opened the seams.
They're not. And they're not getting the battings coming through.
I'm going to tell you right now, I don't open my seams because I'm lazy. It is, I'm going to burn myself.
95% of the reason why I don't do a lot of things.
I just want it. Okay, and now I have my...
We're going to talk about that one. We'll get there.
Okay.
What?
So,
we do so.
Okay. I am a beginner.
Okay. That's Victoria talking right now if you didn't know.
Yeah. Also, I'm extremely impatient and a quilter. I don't
Not a good combo.
I ask my mommy to piece for me because I don't like doing it.
Right.
So I made a quilt for a gift and I wanted to do all of it. Also, I didn't really read the pattern. I understand how to piece on paper, but doing it in practice is not great because I don't have a good 1/4-inch seam. I didn't read the pattern as to which way to iron it, so I pressed everything open.
Oh, yeah.
I then took it to my long arm to quilt it, and I watched as I was rolling it on, it split apart, and I had holes where seams met. I took all that time to iron everything flat and open, so that way my quilt top would lay flat because it wasn't pieced well.
Yeah.
So that was probably part of the problem.
Well, we're chicken or the egg conversation there. Is it opening because of this or because of that? Or both makes it a bad situation?
Because some of them at the end I was like, this is doing weird stuff. Mom was like, press it to the side. And when I pressed things to the side, I didn't have things popping open. As well, I'm sure things still did. Anyway,
thank you, Harvest.
4 times as long. Can't be bothered with that. Meh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Meh. Anyway, so pressing seams, open, closed. It is a controversy. It's not nearly as aggressive now as it was apparently 11 years ago, 12 years ago. Because again,
right, we don't have a bunch of people jumping on here going, no way, everybody has to open. No.
To the side. No.
Yeah, or whatever. Yeah, so I do know that my one friend who is in 100 block, who opens every seam, who has all of these contraptions, a clapper and a this and a that, right? And she just needs Laura Star first of all. But and with the Laura Star, you can get in there a lot faster. You can press your seams open if that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
I just find that with my Laura Star iron, I'm still getting things really flat, even with multiple seams. So.
Okay. So.
However, a Laura Star will not save you if your 1/4 inch is not.
Yeah, if your seams aren't really
if you're not a 1/4 inch
consistent,
right?
Yeah, you're gonna be. It's not good either way.
Right.
So my verdict personally is I prefer to the side. Anybody's asking my opinion. I've done the open. I didn't like burning myself, so just to the side.
We're gonna have to roll through these a little faster. If you,
I had no intention on getting through all of them. I just this may be a to be continued because we may haven't even got to the hard ones yet.
Do a hard one next.
So
Skip to a hard one.
here we go. This is not a hard one. Actually, this is kind of segued from our previous conversation about seams to the side and the Laura Star iron. To steam or not to steam. Now,
Okay.
I'm starting this one. When I started, I would use steam. I didn't care. Things got wonky on me. I stopped using steam.
I think that you stole my example because I
Did I?
don't think that you ever used steam.
I did use steam. I liked steam. I thought it was flat. It was great. Then I learned to not do that.
Right.
I also didn't understand pressing. So I would just drag the fabric out to the edge. Oops. But now we have this.
And what happens when you do that?
Things get weird.
You stretch. So you're steaming and you're pulling, right? And you're stretching your blocks out of shape.
Yeah.
And then you go, well, I don't know why it won't go together. And then you just leave it in my way and you leave the room.
That's exactly what happens.
And so now I have to finish putting this wonky quilt together. Thanks a lot.
I go these years without using steam because I'm like, this is terrible. I just went with hot iron. Then I get
really
this Laura
do-
Star iron
Yeah.
that is a steam system.
Mm-hmm.
I am now steaming my fabric.
Mm-hmm. But you're not stretching
But I'm
because
not.
it's a ultra fine steam.
Okay, wait a minute. Not everybody has a Laura Star iron. This is kind of a new thing.
Exactly.
Let's talk.
So let's talk about
dry steam.
actual steam.
Cut dry steam out. Cut Laura Star out. Are you using steam or are you using?
Just a hot iron.
If I can't have the high-end quality steam situation of that, and you give me a standard iron with steam or without, if that's the conversation, then no.
No
I'm
steam.
absolutely usually not using regular once heated steam. Will not absolutely not
No.
do it.
You're just going to stretch everything. Your pieces are then not going to fit into the next section of, so if you've made these that have to go into a block, they're not going to fit. Okay, now that block doesn't fit in the quilt, on and on and on, right?
Mhm.
There are things like you can use best press. So
Mhm.
we've talked a lot before. I starch everything very heavily from the beginning. So I starch, then I cut, then I piece blocks together. Now I've got very starched fabric that doesn't want to lay
Yeah.
one way or the other. So having a best press, but here's the problem. And you then have to press because if you are getting it wet in any way,
Mm-hmm.
you are now,
You're going to create a steam.
you can stretch that to be the wrong
You
size.
can.
So you need to press, not stretch. We
Okay.
got comments.
We do. So you got Chris. She's out here keeping a spritz bottle near the iron. Don't
Okay.
use the iron steam. It's cool. Harvest going to stick with the best press if you don't have Laura Star, and then Deborah is using spray water.
But she does have
lightly
Laura Star.
and then press. But she does. But that's besides the point.
Okay.
So again, now there's people out there that will absolutely claim, and
Oh
you may
my
feel
gosh.
like you can't. You absolutely are going to be like, I steam everything. It doesn't even matter.
I just
not
thought about
telling you wrong.
something that we have not done yet.
What's that?
We need to, after the video, we need to get the Laura Star set up, and Victoria needs to do a live video to our site
Oh,
so that you guys can see the full Laura Star video or, demo here, okay? Because I do have friends that are watching when Deborah just said that she uses, and then lightly press. Deborah doesn't live close. She probably hasn't seen our Laura Star demo because she hasn't. I know she hasn't. And if you're like, what?
well, maybe
And-
she just should stop by the shop.
exactly.
can't.
She can't. Right.
It's not local.
So
a joke,
let's
guys.
show, because also if there's ever any interest and you are out of the area and you would like to purchase a Laura Star iron, you can always message us because we can actually drop ship straight to you from the company. So it's wonderful.
Mhm.
There's lots of benefits that we have there. So be looking for that today. We'll do a Laura Star video, right? Are you good?
Yeah.
Like you're like, I'm wearing my Memphis t-shirt. I
It's
think it will be
Mississippi.
Mississippi. I don't.
Different.
It's the same
State,
No,
city,
not even
doesn't
close.
matter.
Not even close. Not even close.
Starts with M.
There was an M on her shirt. Anyway, but back
You
to
have
the
show ready.
steam or not steam. When I started, I saw all these things that say, don't use steam, don't use steam. And I was like, they don't know me. I'm using steam. I like steam. What's
Yeah.
wrong with steam? I found out. It doesn't help because you're stretching.
Right. Again, learned processes. Depends on what you want to do and what you like to do.
But
I'm not telling you you're wrong.
Yeah.
Again, it's one of those controversial things because I've seen people argue both sides of it.
I do want to talk about the one that we keep hearing in the store. We've talked about at least 3 or 4 times this week.
Go ahead. Throw it out there.
Okay. Cotton thread versus polyester thread.
Mm-hmm. Which one is better? I have personally had this conversation twice with 2 people. I think it's been a couple more times in the
Yesterday I
shop.
gave my opinion, and then they
was
were
that
all
the
like,
opinion of the conversation?
okay, see, she said, and I was like, oh my gosh.
All right.
Should I
So-
tell them now that I still piece with cotton thread? Even though I told
mean,
them that they could do whatever the heck they want.
You can do whatever you want. You really can. So this conversation has been had multiple times since 2011. This was a big conversation then. It's still a big conversation now. We talked about this in the threads conversation episode we did a few months back, where we talked about where weight of thread comes from, whether you should use poly or cotton or any of the above, what's best for your situation.
Right.
This conversation, just so you are aware, has no right answer. The only answer that is correct at this point in time is that a lot of the belief that cotton is better is because it goes back to the original cottons 55 years ago, as Patty pointed out, were not the same quality as they are now.
Right.
Honestly, I don't even think fabric 15, 20 years ago is the same quality as what it is now.
Exactly.
These fabrics, when they were stitched together with a polyester thread and then were loved, these quilts would start to fall apart because the fabric wasn't meant to be there or wasn't up to that challenge.
It's not so great.
So the fabric starts falling apart. Well, the polyester thread
Was to blame.
still there. So clearly it's the thread's fault.
Right.
It's not the thread's fault.
The poly is going to not break down as fast.
Right.
So it's going to, over 100 years, still be there.
Still present.
And the cotton fabric, which does break down, is not going to be there.
Right.
So,
yes. I'm going to speak to Deborah real quick on that cotton threads. There is nothing wrong with piecing with cotton threads. Like, do not feel obligated that you have to. It comes down to thread quality.
right.
You can go out and you can buy a super cheap cotton thread and it's going to fall apart because it's short staple cotton. If you pull on it and it just slips apart, there's no pop to it. Or like you're going through the old sewing box and you find grandma's Kona thread.
Oh my
and you go
gosh.
like
If
this,
you
it just
find old
separates.
cotton thread, like, be very careful. I would not use old.
Right. The
I wouldn't
quality of
use
that's
old
not gonna
thread.
last. It's not
a whole
durable.
box of old thread, throw it out.
Throw it out. Well, I mean, you can keep it for decoration, I guess. if you
Sure.
want, but don't use it in a piece that you want to keep because it's just not going to hold up to the test of time. Newer cottons, newer polyester thread, you probably actually can't tell the difference.
Right.
I almost can assure you that looking at them and pulling them apart, you're not going to recognize it. When it comes to thread is the cheapest part of the entire quilting equation. Don't
So-
cheap out on it.
So also, I've heard from people, oh, my machine dealer told me I
Mhm.
have to use poly thread. So, okay. And then my friend said, I can't use poly thread. So this is where the person is like, I don't know what to do.
Right.
They said that I can't put that cotton thread in this machine. Okay, first of all, absolutely you can.
Yes, you can.
Put cotton thread in your machine. I will tell you that on our long arms, we always run poly thread. Always. Because it is high speed, multi-direction. Like, you do not want something that could possibly break. We do, once in a while, run King Tut thread, which is Egyptian cotton.
I have no problems running cotton thread in there. I will do it if that's what you're
It's
looking
fine.
for.
It's fine.
Not a big deal at
Sometimes
all.
we have to slow the machine down because it wants to break or whatever.
Time and tension, 2 things you need for that.
So, but polythread, very good for long arm machines. It's not going to break and all that stuff. So, but what a lot of the thing with cotton thread is it is more linty. So your machine dealer is going to not want you to use that because you're going to create a lot of lint and dust and all of that's down in the motor, and then you could be causing yourself problems sooner than you need to. Okay, if you're in there and cleaning your machine out, you can use cotton thread.
Mhm.
I piece with cotton thread. I've also pieced lots of things with poly thread.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so like you really can use whichever you want. It's really not that big of a deal. If your friend is hovering over you and they're saying you can't use
I can't
poly
believe
on
you're
that,
using that.
what are you doing? Look,
Get new friends. Just kidding.
maybe time to start searching.
You can say, Danielle said, no.
Danielle said, I'll write you a note. It's fine. Anyway.
She told me I could use this poly thread.
Danielle said it was fine. I'm still
Your
looking here.
cotton t-shirts have poly thread.
This is poly thread that's holding that together.
Yeah. Holding that
True.
together.
It really is.
And it's going to wear out in place, like before, like not.
There's no poly thread here where my gut rubs against my shirt. Guess what? This has nothing to do with the polyester. It's just me being unhealthy. I'll get better someday. Anyway. Yes, true statement. I do want to bring back to this
he
conversation.
wants me to laugh.
Carol.
I'm not laughing.
Carol made a point that when she was learning the whole sewing thing with making clothes, you press your seams open. And then she learned that beginning accuracy was pushing it to the side. So this could very well be where that open seam pressing comes from for the quilting world. It may come from the sewing world because a lot of this all intermingles.
Right.
What works really well for sewing for clothing may not be the best answer for quilting and vice versa. So that actually makes a lot of sense.
There's also, and I know Carol would be able to speak to this, hand quilters want you to go one direction and then they're going to quilt next to.
Oh, yeah.
So that they have a space where it's not got extra fabric.
Double layer.
So if you press it open and you distribute that, now where am I supposed to quilt that? Okay. But versus when you machine quilt, you can do either. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
You can. Which actually that would also tie into stitching in the ditch, which I didn't put on here, but somebody had mentioned that was a controversy, either to stitch exactly in the ditch or to the side of it. Which would be really dictated by how your seams are pressed. If your seams are pressed open, you're going to want to go right in the ditch. But then if your seams are pressed to the side, you're actually going to ride along that high side because there's no way you're ever going to get down in the middle of that. So it all comes together. It's crazy. Consistency. That's the important part.
Right.
All right. Let's see here. What was another fun one that I had for controversial? It's hard to hand quilt through a lot of seams. I could only imagine that it's not fun. I mean, you're trying to shove a needle through multiple layers.
Yeah.
Ugh. Not for me. I can't do it. I think I want to talk about this one. How do you feel about this?
Okay.
So this is from 2011. Again, at the time, art quilts were becoming more of a conversational point. So there was a question of art quilts considered quilts versus a traditional quilt. So you go to a quilt show, there's art quilts and there's traditional piece quilts. If it is a piece of art, is it a quilt? Interesting controversial conversation now, all right? I know, right?
So a quilt, by definition, is 3 layers. It is so that are held together with thread.
Stitched together.
Okay, this is a quilt. So art quilt, whatever, has to follow those rules of being 3 layers stitched together. So as long as they are 3 layers stitched together, I don't care. It's art quilt, traditional quilt, yes.
That's the thing, an abstract acrylic painting isn't actually a painting because it's not an oil traditional portrait.
Right.
If you want to compare it to something like that, it's just a different way of using the medium.
Well, again, this is a conversation. I think art quilts really have become very much more mainstream in the last decade. I think we see them a lot more. We have quilt shows. You go to Paducah and you see more art quilts than you see traditionally pieced quilts.
Right.
Why is that? I think the question or the answer to that is that the techniques used to make that can be a little bit more challenging than some of the traditional pieces. Sometimes, not always. Again, I'm not absolute stating. So is it because it makes it more of a challenge to create that, to get the color contrast, to make it look like a person's face, or to get the depth of the landscape that you're making? So are they still quilts there, or do they now suddenly we're into the art world? This is purely art. Because I'm not going to take that home and put it on my bed. Not using that every day.
I do think that quilts can be art and quilts can be quilts. I think that you can make a quilt that is for being used, right? So you're gonna what am I trying to say? What's the word? Yeah, utility quilt. So you're making quilts that are, because there's a baby born and we want them to use it. And so we're going to make a quilt that's going to be used. We're going to make a quilt for that same baby being born. It's going on the wall. It's more of a wall hanging, and I can put a whole lot more work into it because it's not going to be spit up on and washed 1,000 times. And maybe it's more art because it's got a lot more time and pieces and things like that. But I did have someone come to me and said that she went to Paducah and she did not like the quilt show because there was very few traditional quilts. It's all art quilts. Everything has rhinestones.
The bedazzling got me. I was a little confused by that. I wasn't expecting that.
There's a lot of rhinestones. There's a lot of over the top, like quilted to death that you would never want, like isn't going to be comfortable.
Right.
So is that still considered a quilt? Yes. The definition of a quilt is 3 layers. You know what is not a quilt? A cathedral window.
Oh.
A cathedral window quilt is not a quilt because it's only 2 layers and there's no batting.
Then what do you call it? A blanket?
It's a cathedral.
Wait a minute. I'm going to put all that work into something like that and it's not defined as a quilt.
It's not, but I sure don't like that because
there's like 85 yards of fabric in that.
It is more time that I've put into than what I've put. I made a cathedral window flag, so wall hanging size piece, and I put more time in that than I've put into, I think, any other quilt. Maybe my Hearts at Sea quilt has more time in it than that, but I mean, that's curved wild. Piecing, curves all through. Anyway.
Wow, that's interesting.
Not a quilt is what if you by definition it is not a quilt.
See what Deborah's saying here. I was in Japan. They had an art show, and there were quilts in the art show. Crazy awesome.
Yeah, I mean, so can you have a quilt at the art museum? That's a quilt.
I would think you should be able to.
We went to a whole exhibit.
Oh yeah, there was a whole exhibit, wasn't there? It was pretty cool, actually.
It was more on the dyeing and the
the fabric process making process there, but yeah, it was kind of neat still. Vicky appreciates art quilts and the process it takes to be done. Loves traditional quilts. No, I would agree with that conversation. If it's quilted, it's a quilt. Yes, I mean you're right. Some are made to be used, some are made to be displayed and enjoyed.
Exactly.
Fair. The bedazzled quilts with the stones seem to be the winners. They should have traditional category. Yes. I would agree with that, Pam. I think if we're going to have a quilt show, I think they need to have a traditional category. I think there's a lot of work that can go into traditional quilts and make them absolutely stunning.
Absolutely.
If you're with the Paducah Quilt Show and you need suggestions.
Yeah, just ask us. We've got opinions. We got
great #1 customers that have wonderful opinions. Just saying.
Yeah.
But
like at the quilt show at Queenie Park, there was a pineapple quilt that was amazing.
Yes.
That's a traditional quilt. That is, and that person, it took a long time to make that quilt, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And there were lots of quilts that had rhinestones or, that were more art quilts. Both are great. All are great.
So I have to say that I think this one has come a long way from where the conversation was 12 years ago, because there was definitely some argument points to this one. It doesn't seem that we're as opposed to the idea of art quilts at this point. I think there's a bit more understanding. So, yay! Go one for society.
Woo!
We did it. We got one out of several.
Right. we can kind of agree on one.
All right. Let's see here. Which one do I like? Okay.
Last one.
No. Oh, is it? It is going to be the last one. Okay. This one might be the riot starter. Possibly.
I doubt it.
I don't know. So, hand quilting versus machine quilting. This has been a conversation since the time that machines were made, and we're going back to the 1800s.
It's cheating. It's cheating.
Wait, are we asking which one do we prefer to do, or which one do we prefer to look at?
No, there are people who are, this is the answer.
Yes, if it's not hand quilted, not hand quilted, it's not actually quilted, it's actually cheating. You didn't really do the work. There are genuine beliefs of this out there, and if you are one of those people, I'm not saying you're wrong. We are just this is a discussion. It still exists to this day. I don't think this one has gone away. I don't think this one will ever go away, honestly.
I really want to tell this story. And let's see if I can do this without...
Oh, no, I'm afraid. Like I said, this one's kind of polarizing. I'm afraid of this one. Go ahead.
We had a renter who was quilting her quilt.
She was.
And
using a long arm.
Using a long arm. We had some ladies in who had not been to the store before. They were taking a tour. And they stopped, and one of them stopped and was talking to her. And she said, "Oh, I hand quilt. A machine is not for me." Okay, that is a good way to start.
Sure.
But then she said, because that's just not really a quilt, in my opinion. Again, okay, in my opinion, yes, okay, yes, you can have your opinion.
Totally cool.
And then she said, and then the renter said, "Oh, I'm making this for a charity."
For a charity.
And then she said, "Well, I guess they'll just take anything." And so I was like, I got to get this lady away from this lady because this is not going to be, like, I was dumbfounded by that because, like I said, she had started
this is a real conversation.
She had started off with, "I hand quilt. That's what I do, and in my opinion, that's how it has to be done." And then I was like, okay, that's fine. And there are still a lot of church picnics. They'll raffle off a quilt. Must be hand quilted. Can't go in if it's not hand quilted.
Totally fine.
Totally fine.
Because the quality work and the time that's going to go into it is definitely going to demand a higher price, in my opinion, at times, because we
have multiple people who watch us who hand quilt and own a machine. So they do both.
They do both.
And they will tell you that there is value in this, and value, and I would hand quilt the wedding gift I'm giving, or I'm machine quilting this utility baby quilt that I want them to use and spit up on.
Yeah.
That, I'm gonna give a hand quilted quilt as a baby gift, and that is going to be the one that I hope that they cherish for a long time, but maybe doesn't get used as often. I'm also going to give them the one that I machine quilted so that they can throw it on the floor and the baby can crawl around on it. Totally
just echoed by Pam on that conversation where she's learned both, but if she's gifting it, machine quilting it, it's going to be more durable, which is kind of what you're looking for, because I want you to use that quilt. I don't want it to get put in the closet and ignored. Yes. So yeah, absolutely. Like I said, fun one. Carol does both. No computer, which is fine. So she does. There is time and effort. If you free motion quilt with those machines, it's. I mean, it is not easy to control that without the robotics. So
absolutely,
a lot of time.
Planning, just the same.
Yep.
Harvest has a day job and doesn't want to hand stitch binding machines forever. Quality and durability. And that's a real conversation also that was kind of part of the hand quilting, machine quilting, was binding.
Sure. Do you machine bind or do you hand bind?
And there were definitely some adamantly opposed to machine, like you use a machine to put on the first part and then you hand bind it down to the backside. There were people adamantly opposed that you should never machine bind it down, and they think it's junk if you machine it on. What? Well, I don't have time for this.
It's just and things like after I sit and I do about 20 minutes, my hand is numb. And I'm like, okay, now I gotta, yes, if you want to put the time and all that is great.
Yep. Chris, here you go. Hand quilting requires patience, which is not one of my virtues. I share that sentiment.
Yes, I need there to be some.
Love the look of hand quilting. I think it's gorgeous. I think it's fantastic. I wish I had the skill set for it.
I need to see that I'm making some progress, like today.
I need half the quilt done before the end of the day.
Right.
If it's not, I can't. Yeah. Anyway, but that doesn't mean I don't appreciate it. I love it. Deborah, remember when I sent you the tie-dyed bed sheets that my granddaughter and I worked on? Yes, the neighbor granny said it was not a quilt because the top part was not pieced together. Well, harsh.
There's whole cloths. Tell me those aren't quilted.
That's a quilt.
That's a quilt.
Quilted,
for sure.
A quilt, again, 3 parts. A top, a backing, and a batting, all stitched together, held together by thread. By the way, it's a quilt, whether it's pieced or not. I'll argue with that one all day long. But anyway, so Harvest was a great one with Chris on that one. Alvina enjoys hand quilting. That's totally awesome. Still trying to learn machine quilting since I have so many IMQs.
Yeah.
They'll stack up real fast.
You know, and there are still a lot of people who get together and hand quilt, and you solve the world's problems. Thank you for doing that.
Thank you
Thank
so much.
you for continuing to
Make
pray
the world a
for
better
our
place,
children. You know,
'cause
like
they
this
need
is
it.
right, exactly. and also, community is super important. You know, it really
Absolutely is.
Like, I'm trying to do that here with we've been talking this whole week about what other classes can we have? How can we get more people to come in and share an experience together?
Yeah.
Because that is really the biggest part of why we do this hobby, right? And a lot of times our hobby is done in our basement by ourselves.
Yeah, usually it's a solo sport, but
so I'm
nice
just
having the
trying
team
to
effort.
make sure that we still stay connected in some way. So
And if you have just that one person telling you you're doing it wrong, that's not fair. You need at least 8 people telling you you're doing it wrong.
Exactly. You need 8 people to tell you.
And then that one person that's on your side, so at least you're evened out a little bit.
I really had to, as soon as that lady was gone, I had to pump up my renter. I was like, you are doing an amazing job. This is awesome work. You know, like, it's okay to use a machine.
Right.
It really is.
So Pam says it's, she was scrolled on me. As long as it's durable and the product's finished you desire, it's good. Personal preference, 100%.
Yep.
Binding now by machine, but sometimes by hand. Again, situational, absolutely.
Yep. I really want to I want to learn how to do facing on a quilt.
You do this.
Yeah.
You look the other way. About face.
Anyway, I need to watch a video because I don't think that was helpful.
Help at all. Vicky's hand quilting stitches are not the same, so not for her, but machine stitches are not all the same, huh? Well, stitch regulation. It's a real thing.
Yeah.
It's awesome, but sometimes you can go faster than the machine can.
Can you roll it up for a second?
Yeah, we're getting there.
Oh.
Wendy, I love the slow down of the hand stitching. Ooh, yeah, I get that too. Again, awesome reason to do it.
Absolutely.
And it's portable.
You can hand stitch anywhere. True. You can't necessarily take the long arm with you everywhere.
Exactly.
Let's see, Lisa, she loves hand quilted quilts because her know the time put into it, right?
Right.
Tend to appreciate more because of that. I love that. Personally would take forever to get it completed. Don't have time for it, obviously. Machine quilting, you can have more detail added to the quilting. Yeah, there are definitely pros and cons to that, which, it's definitely its own level of figuring out where you want to be with that. Carol loves Tuesday quilting with a church family. Yes, of course. Again, that whole community part of it is always fantastic. And Pam has a lap quilt that her mom and dad made years ago, which is super cool. Polyester fabrics on a sheet on the back. Now, what I did do... Oh, because it made it together for me and they're both gone now. Oh, and it's not falling apart either. That's fantastic.
Even better.
And Harvest wants to learn facing also. Great.
Okay.
Goals.
I don't know how. Let me teach a class.
I'm going to watch a video and here we go.
Yeah, I mean, why not? That's what I mean by community. Let's get together and let's figure it out, right?
Absolutely. Oh, so I have a whole list of conversational controversies, and we have gotten through 5 of them.
Right. So you know what I think we should do is next Friday, let's put out 2 of them that we're going to talk about into the collective, out onto the page, and then have people kind of comment to that.
Yeah.
Then we can get opinions, and then we can come back on Saturday and we can talk about it.
There's so much.
So Deborah, facing is a way to complete the quilt without there being binding.
Right.
And I'm really confused by this. But
it's almost like
it is definitely done. It is like, yeah.
You see how there's the backing in the front, and then don't look at me.
There is no binding.
There's no binding.
It's like you birth it, right?
It's
you
like,
do it from the inside, then you birth it.
But how do you...
But then, I want to long arm it, and I can't really do anyway. So, I need to look it up.
Right.
And figure it out.
Absolutely.
Because there are lots of quilts hanging in Paducah that are...
A good portion of them there
don't
are
have
actually
binding,
faced.
That have
a good portion of them. So, absolutely. Zoom class details yet? We've thought about it, Jackie.
So, what I want to do for my next sew along is I want to have a sew along that's in person,
Yeah.
and I want to have a sew along that's on Zoom,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not going to have them at the same time.
No, 2 different days.
So that way I'm not trying to talk to my Zoom people while I have people in class that I can't help, because if I move from this spot, then the Zoom people can't
Right.
see me. Let's just do a Zoom class and an in-person class.
Okay.
So
Details to come.
it's all in the works. That is definitely something that we're talking about. So
Excellent.
hey, Mom
Oh.
can do a facing class.
Woohoo!
Sweet.
Yay! All right. Oh man, there were so many topics in here I didn't even get to. We'll have more. We're gonna do this again. This was fun. I enjoyed your guys' input. But till next time, we're gonna have to wrap this one up and get out of here. Get the store ready.
Yep.
You have to come see me today because I have long arms for sale. By the way, the Handy Quilter special this month. You buy a machine, you can get a roll of batting or free shipping.
Mm-hmm.
If you buy a machine and Pro Stitcher, you can get a roll of batting and shipping. You get both because that you bought one of each. So
double dip,
as
they say.
Yeah. So anyway,
we will do a Laura Star video.
we're apparently going to do a Laura Star video. This will be a good time. It'll be fun for somebody. Me probably. Anyway, so keep an eye out for that. Yes, Harvest, I know. And anyway, I just wish shipping was better. I don't know how the machine got so fast and everything else still is not.
90% of your machine here.
So just not happy with it. Anyway, we're going to get out of here. Come see us today. Come check out me in tan pants.
Yeah.
It'll be fun.
It'll be awesome.
Anyway, Victoria, you good to get us out of here? All right, we're going to go. We'll see you soon.
Bye.